Hello and welcome everybody to New Earth Consciousness. Tanya here. I'm with Dawn Bennett, and her business is Unified Mind. You can find her at unifiedmind.info. And Dawn, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's so exciting to talk to you again.
Yeah, yeah. And so, just so everyone knows, Dawn is a dating and relationship coach who helps people cut out the noise of modern dating, stop repeating painful patterns, and, create the love that you want to have, right? And the connection that you've been searching for. We're always, um, everyone's longing for that deep, authentic connection with another. And, it's been a very long time since I've been in the dating world. Um, and I know, just like everything else, so many things have changed, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Just the culture around dating has changed. And so I am super excited to just hear your insight and wisdom as far as like how do you help people find love in a world that's very noisy.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, it comes down to a few things. Like one of the things I love to do is help people define what do they actually want in a partner, right? And we think we know, like we're like, oh, I want someone like loyal and kind and generous. Like, yes, and like who are they as a person? How do you see that in the world? In other words, how are they interacting with other people? How are they talking about their family? How are they talking about things that helps you know that they have that?
Mm.
And one of the things that's really fun that I tell people to do is write down everything you didn't like about your like past five most up to five most significant relationships, and then turn that into positive attributes, and then take the things you absolutely loved about your past five relationships and turn those and put all those things together and pick out like 5 to 10 traits, like themes basically,
Hmm.
because that will actually give it an insight. Because you may say, oh, I want a good communicator, but what I think is a good communicator and what you think is a good communicator is going to look really different.
Yeah.
So we can say, like, okay, well, what kind of communication do I need? But most importantly, what does it look like when they don't have that? Because then we can say, oh, you know what? They actually don't have this, they don't have that, and that's okay. Well, I'm going to let them go for the next person. And I think that's one thing that we forget in the world right now is we're so much like, do they have XYZ? Or do I pick the person that's funny, or do I pick the person that's a good communicator? When really we can have it all if we know what we're looking for, like an avatar for your business, kind of like that.
Interesting. So yeah, I wonder, like, the question that comes up in my mind as you're describing this or explaining this. Um, I mean, you're saying you can have it all, and it's like sometimes I feel like those of us that, let's say, um, we love passion, let's say, and sometimes passion can be very ungrounding. It can mean the person doesn't isn't committed, right? But then you're like, okay, well, that didn't work. I really want someone committed. So you find someone who's really into commitment, but maybe they're just not as passionate. So is it really possible to be like, okay, I want the passion and I want the commitment? And I mean, is it kind of like, at
Yeah.
what point do you just go like, I mean, we all have faults, right? So
Right.
do you also kind of like guide people in like getting really clear on like what is a definite no? Like,
Yeah.
okay, if they're going to be committed, they can't be boring, or you know what I mean? Like,
So
whatever.
let me give you my personal example. So when I was becoming a relationship and intimacy coach, my mentor taught this class, right? And I was like, I know what I want in dating life. Like, I've got my list. I'm all good to go. But I had to go through the process as part of my training, which was great. Like, because you can always learn more, of course. And I found out that the number one thing I need in a relationship is playfulness. And it was nowhere on my list. But the word playfulness is a representation of a series of interactions. I want them to be playful, but that doesn't mean class clown.
Mm,
Playful means like we joke around, we tease it, we play with new ideas in the kitchen, we play with new ideas in the bedroom, we tease, we're lighthearted. he doesn't mind if I go jump on a playground, or he likes to play games, or he enjoys playing with my nephews. Like playfulness is an energy
Mhm.
that I recognize through these things.
Mm.
But if they're cruel in the way they're playful, like they tease people, if they put people down, like that's not playful. So
Mhm.
that's a no.
Yeah.
So for you, for passion, what does passion actually mean?
Mhm.
Because passion can be taken to your point to an extreme. Like I'm so passionate, I'm just going to be angry, and anyone that's not in with me is out, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's not the passion you're talking about.
Right.
Passion for you might mean like I'm so engaged and passionate about making the world a better place, and this is how I show up for people, for the homeless, for my friends, or for my family. Like that's passion. So what does that look like?
Mm.
And what doesn't it look like? And so when we know those two, what does it look like for us and what doesn't it look like for us now, as we're going on dates, as we're looking at profiles, we can actually look for that. But not just how are they treating us, but who are they in the world that lets us know that they have that.
Mm. Yeah. And so getting clear on that is important because why?
Because if you don't know what you're looking for, then you're always in flux,
Mm. Hmm.
right? And our protective mechanisms and our unconscious mind kick in. So for your listeners, like the unconscious mind is the part of us that drives us to the store safely and we don't even remember getting there, right? Because we're distracted, or we're on the phone, or we're thinking
Yeah.
about something, or listening to music or whatever. So our unconscious mind also is the one that drives us home when we're trying to go to the store. And we're like, shoot, I was trying to go to the store. How did I end up at home?
Right.
Right? So if we're trying to do something so conscious, like drive a car to the store, and we still end up in the wrong place, what do you think our unconscious mind is doing when we're trying to date or have a relationship or communicate or protect us from being hurt again?
Mm.
Right? So our unconscious holds definitions. And if we're not paying attention to where we're going, our unconscious mind will drive us into what feels familiar, which is usually the same toxic relationships, the same self-sabotaging, the same need to be dominant or controlling in a relationship that then doesn't allow us to step into our feminine, or doesn't allow us to be vulnerable with our partner, because we're not actually being conscious about what we're choosing. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like before I found my husband, no, I don't think I was specific at all. It was just more of like, I just, I want to find the one, and yeah. And then I think after being burned so many times, I did like, I guess part of the burning process or whatever, getting burned is helpful in the way like, okay, no. Now I know what I want, right? Like it's super
Right.
clear. Yeah, yeah,
Yep. And more often, like we also learn what we don't want, which is the
right.
most valuable things about relationships that don't work, I think.
Yeah,
And but we get to use that as leverage. And what I see, I think the biggest challenge in the dating field right now, especially if we're on social media or online dating, is when our brain sees other people, whether it be on an app or whether it be on a social media feed, we're losing the connection, because
yeah.
when we see that many people per day, our brain thinks we've interacted with those people, whether we've just read their reel or whether we've actually had a conversation with them, and it wears us down energetically, emotionally, and neurologically, chemically. So now we start trying to date online, or we go out on a date, and like part of us just isn't fully committed because we've been trained that nobody else is and there's always someone else out there, plus we're already exhausted because the
Mhm.
human neurological condition isn't meant to do that.
Right.
And so it makes dating harder because it's harder to bond when you're like, well, there's 8 other people on the dating app that it might work for me. Or I've just scrolled for an hour and my dopamine is gone. And now I'm not getting dopamine from the person across from me. So I don't think there's chemistry. But
Mm.
really, it might be actually the perfect person, but we're not feeling what we used to feel because we've worn out our dopamine receptors, or we've
That's
worn out, you know? Yeah.
that's intense. I mean, because I mean, so many of us are on our phones so much, and especially, um, yeah, I mean, I don't even think it matters what age you are at this point. It's like, it's become such an addiction, and now we have to actually have that make a conscious choice of how much time am I spending? Like if you are on the dating apps, do you coach people like, do you coach them? How do you use it? Because it seems to me that's the thing that most people use nowadays, right? Are dating apps, and I can definitely see how useful they could be because you can get out all your prerequisites out the gate, right? Of like what you like and what you don't like. Um, but yeah, I can imagine it, you just kind of maybe hit overwhelm. Like it's kind of like how I feel when I go to the mall or something, which I hardly ever do, but when I do, I just always feel so overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, it's just like going shopping for clothes can always be overwhelming for me because I'm just like, oh my God, I don't even want to do this anymore. I'm tired of
Right.
not finding what I want and, you know, and
Yeah,
so,
or like going to a fine dining restaurant, right? They've got five things on the menu. They've got the red meat, they've got the fish, they've got the chicken, they've got the vegetarian, they've got something else, right? You can kind of decide between those. You go to like TGI Fridays and there's like 20 pages and you're
right.
like, "Oh, but that sounds good, but that sounds good, but that sounds good, but that's online dating right now."
Oh my gosh.
And if you don't like it, you just order something different.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the challenge. So if we don't know what we're liking, also we swipe by people that could actually be good matches based upon looks, and especially women, unfortunately. Guys aren't very good at putting up profile pictures. They're like, my picture is me with the beer with my friends, or me with a fish in my hand, or whatever. And women are like, oh God, like, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
But in actuality, if you're not actually reading like who are they as a person, you could be swiping by someone really great that's just really bad at putting up an online dating profile,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
So how do you help people, how do you guide people in making their choices? What's the most important thing to know when you're on these apps? Like um, how do you find the right one? I mean, obviously with dating, it's like you got to put yourself out there and you're gonna have to go on dates that aren't that great and so I imagine there must be a mindset, right, that you have to have in approaching that whole world.
Yeah. So there's a few things. So A, if you know what you want, it's easier to find.
Hmm.
So then now you're looking at profiles in a different way, right? Because now you're looking at profiles of like, what are actually their values and their qualities, and do they match with what I have? So now your vetting process is becoming different. And now when you start, let's say you swipe, I don't even know what direction it is. Like I'm single, I should know this stuff. But when you swipe as a yes and they swipe as well, and you start a conversation, instead of like, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? Hey, do you have family? Like, we're already exhausted. We don't want to answer those questions again. But
Yeah.
now you can say, like, hey, I saw this on your profile. And if I know I need someone playful, or if I know I need someone that has really strong family values, I can be like, here's what I love doing with my family. I love this and this and this. What do you love about your family? So now I'm sharing at a different level than just like asking random questions.
Mm.
Or I could be sussing for something that I don't like, you know. And remember that also a lot of times we text too long back and forth because it's easy.
Hmm.
But really the goal is this person, am I interested enough to meet this person in person, on the phone, via Zoom? Like the goal is actually to get face to face as quickly as possible,
Yeah.
right? Because that's how it used to be. Like traditional, it used to be like we were introduced by someone or in overlapping circles or our family knew them. So there was already a sense of trust. There was already a sense of knowing. We
Mhm.
were already warned if they were alcoholics or jerks or whatever, because somebody knew them somewhere along the line. Now we're going on this Hollywood model of like chemistry and mystery and oh, but I don't know. And I hold a little bit back and I play these games and I don't text them even if I like them because I have to let them know that I don't care that much. No,
Mm.
we're really, when we do that, we're playing games and we're doing a disservice to ourselves and to them, right? Which is why there's all this gender war stuff too on social media. And we're just bashing each other. It's like, okay, we all want love.
Yeah.
So how do you create connection? How do you say like, oh, this person seems interesting enough that I want to jump on a phone call with them. This person seems interesting enough I want to FaceTime them. And if they're not willing to do that, awesome. Now they've already shown me something about themselves,
Mm.
which might be that they don't want to be committed or
Yeah.
that they're too shy or they're too da da da. And that's not bad. And does it align with what I want? And if it doesn't, Now I can maybe ask a question around that or be like, you know what, if you're not interested in meeting over FaceTime or in person, I need someone that is, and thank you, and move on.
Yeah.
So this is how we actually make it like about we're actually selecting because we're building relationships. Like I have two friends that I online dated for a bit and it didn't we're like, you are an amazing person and we are not good together in a relationship, but we can still be friends.
Mm.
And this is what we're looking to do, right? Is build relationships. And if it becomes a better relationship, great. And if it doesn't, okay. That's not to say I'm friends with everybody I've online dated, but like if you really know what you're looking for and you find that bond, then you get to make different choices if you know what it is that you want at a deep level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like it's really important, or what I hear you sort of advocating, or, making sure people get that that really to empower people to stand by their preferences and their boundaries and all of that. Because I know that for me, even though I wasn't part of the digital age of dating, oftentimes I found myself going on dates that I knew I didn't want to go on anyway because I knew they weren't a fit, but because I was a chronic people pleaser, oh my God,
Mhm.
so terrible. So to have a little bit of selfishness is good because it is authentic, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I see that sometimes too, especially when I work with men. And this isn't anything bad about men, but like men have a hard time getting dates right now because women are just like, whatever, I can do it all myself. I don't need a man, blah, blah. We need men, we need each other. Right. And so I see that in men, especially where they're going on dates with women that may not be a match just because they're like, well, I'm not getting anybody. So I might as well try this one.
Mm,
Right. And then the women are like, oh, see how they're not even this? Like, why am I even bothering? And it's just this whole huge dynamic that's also happening where we're really doing a disservice to each other.
yeah.
Or women are looking for attention or neediness, and then they're just going with men for that attention. And then as soon as they find someone else to give them attention, they move on. And so this is also like, if you really want a relationship, let's ground yourself in like being human to each other and being straightforward and upfront and honest. And if it's not the right person, being kind and gentle about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, do you see a difference in different age categories? Because I feel like, watching my 22-year-old do the dating thing and, Tinder and whatever, like whatever the apps are, and really just seeing him struggle. Like he really wants a relationship,
Hmm.
but it seems super, super challenging
Yeah.
because I think that his generation, I mean, it's different than mine. We didn't have, you and I didn't, how old are you, Don?
I'm 48. Yeah.
48. I'm 51.
Yep.
We didn't grow up with cell phones.
Nope.
We didn't grow up with the internet that came later. And so we have this memory of what it's like to actually have real in-person interactions. And now we have this whole younger generation where their whole social world is Snapchat and Instagram and whatever. And I see them really struggling to find the deeper connections. And also what I feel is like a lot of confusion around sex. I mean, it's like if you're if you're not easy, then something's wrong with you.
Hmm.
It's kind of what I'm noticing. And if you're not easy, then you're kind of like you're the weirdo, the awkward, socially awkward, I just see it like my a friend of mine, she's got an son who's I think 25. He just doesn't date, he's just at home, like he just shut off, like turned off, just like kind of given up. Like I didn't fit in with the crowd at the university, going to all the wild parties and having casual sex and all that kind of a thing. And it's sad. It's really sad. Like my heart. really does, man, I just feel for them so much because they have to kind of push through so many different veils to get to the real person.
Right.
Know? Because I see the women, the young women that are like they're dressing very provocatively. They're, you know what I mean? It's all about the body and how they look and the hair, the nails, the, you know,
Hmm.
gym body and all this stuff. But it's like, yeah, but who are you really? Like underneath all of that, all of what you're putting up on social media, like how do you, you know, do you find that those kind of things are an issue or not for the older crowd, like people that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s? Is it
Well,
different?
I do think the dynamic has shifted. Like I think like the 20-year-olds have always been, finding yourself, finding that, like glamming, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then people
yeah.
shift. Some people shift, some people don't as they get older, right? Some people that is their identity and they love it and they love, dressing up like that and whatever.
Mhm.
I think where I'm seeing the dynamic shift is kind of this really the polarity of, and when I watch younger people, especially on social media, like it's so hard to live right now. Like it used to be like we got out of college, it was like we made more money than we ever had in our life. We're like, woo, look at all this money I have. Like I can rent an apartment and buy my own car. And like they can't do that.
Yeah, it's
Like they're
true.
$100,000 in college debt or 50,000 or like numbers that are unimaginable to most of us coming right out of college, right? We're like, we made that maybe if we were lucky getting out of college, and that's their debt, right?
Yeah.
And so they have all these bills and all this stuff. And what we're seeing is like, so women have been taught to be really independent, right? And really, I don't need a man, like I was saying, kind of energy. And there's this dynamic of men also like coming out making money and like both, but like nobody can support each other, right? But they're, instead of coming together and being like, hey, let's both be this, there's still this like the pendulum swung one way, right? So it's like it used to be like our parents, like the man for the most part, like provided and the woman was household, right? For the most part, it was kind of the stereotype of the day. Like our generation kind of started switching where it was a little more equality. Then like it was more like, well, the women can take care of themselves and like, and they're doing their own thing and they don't need a man kind of energy. But like there's also this polarity swinging back of like, we need each other, but now we're so angry at each other
Mm,
because we don't know how to change the dynamic of like women being so far in their mask and that they don't even know how to soften to a relationship.
yeah.
And and then women running around and telling men like, well, we don't need you for anything. And men being like, well, then what am I doing? Why am I even going to bother to date?
Yeah. What a
You
mess.
know? And then women are still going like, hey, I want you to take me out, but also I'm really independent.
Yeah.
Like, and then guys are going, well, then if I'm going to support you, I want you to be a traditional housewife. Well, how dare you tell me to be a traditional housewife? Because I'm independent and I can be strong. And like guys are like, well, yeah, but then where's room for me? And so there's this like also this place where I think everyone's trying to figure out like where do we fit and how do we come back to roles where we're both equal and we both recognize each other's strengths, we both recognize that we need each other, and this is what relationships are created out of instead of this identity dynamic that's been created by social media. I think that's where I was trying to get to.
Mm,
Here's who I am. Here's how powerful I am. Here, you always see my good side of me. And here's my survival mechanism of I don't need anybody else. And both men and women are doing that. Why do I need a woman? And
yeah.
they're like, why do I need a man? But we need each other for many things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
the million drive too, you know?
We
So,
do need each other. That whole mentality of like I'm independent, I can do it on my own, and yet you're on this dating app or whatever. It's kind of to me like
yeah.
how like whoo, like talk about crossing wires in the wrong way. I just feel like if we're walking around with that mindset of like I don't really need anybody, I'm independent, then we're really just kind of turning other people into what we want to consume, right?
Right. Which goes back to the whole
Consumer
thing of there's
mentality.
many people on the menu.
Yeah.
So, and part of it is the safety mechanism of the brain right now. Like our nervous systems all got amped up around COVID, right? Like the idea of safety and then the drive and then the mechanism and the fear and the political dynamics right now. Like we could talk about it in many ways,
Yeah.
but the bottom line is so many of us are walking around anxious, overstimulated, overwhelmed, that we don't even have the capacity to connect
Yeah.
because our brain is in survival mode. Because everything that we're focusing on, everything we're doing is dopamine, 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 and all these neurochemicals and all this stimulation. And so to calm down enough to connect is also challenging.
Yeah.
And it feels weird. It feels boring. It feels like, well, what do I do next?
Yeah.
Uncomfortable. I have to be vulnerable. That's uncomfortable. Oh, you made me angry? Well, screw you. I'm just going to go find someone new instead of, okay, wow, you made me angry. Let me notice something about myself. Let me notice something about this dynamic. Let's work through conflict. Because if we're not working through conflict and I'm just jumping to the next one, I'm never going to learn. But then also, I'm going to be like, oh, all guys are like this. Because now I just have guy after guy after guy that's had conflict, 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 conflict. And now I'm making an assumption about them. I'm putting them all in a box. Now my unconscious mind believes that. So now everything I see is confirmation bias, which means that everything I see is going to validate what I already believe about men,
Yeah.
which then is going to make me separate because I want to protect my heart and I want to be independent and strong, right? And so it's all unconscious safety mechanisms that are playing out and hormones and all that, they're playing out in this bigger dynamic than I think we're even aware of as a society.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, we've definitely have lost the capacity. I mean, I feel like there's a fine line between, okay, this is what I want and this is how it has to be.
Yeah.
And there's, like you said, there's going to be conflict. There's going to be parts about your person that you're with that annoy you. I mean, that's inevitable, right?
Yes.
Like, it's
Yes.
inevitable. I remember someone, I don't remember who had said it. I feel it was like an Episcopalian priest or something. I remember, I think I was in therapy years ago, and this psychiatrist was saying something like, yeah, relationship, it's inevitable that you're going to hurt each other. That's part of it. You're going
Hmm.
to hurt each other.
Yep.
It's to be expected. But the problem is like you said, oh, well, you hurt me, that's it, I'm done. I'll just go get somebody else or I'll move on. And so
Mhm.
like you said, you're just repeating the pattern over and over again because that same thing is going to keep showing up, that rub, that particular rub, and it's like, yeah, how do we yeah, it's definitely like this journey of okay, gotta, you know, there's the dating, right? Like, okay, just figuring out who it is. All right, go out on some dates. And then you find somebody where there's some kind of magic. You can, like, okay, this is, there's something here. There's chemistry here. Um, and then, you know, as they say, like, I mean, I think most married couples can say this, that eventually that chemistry, that initial infatuation falls
Mhm.
away, right? And then
Yeah.
the real deal shows up. And that's where it's like, okay, that's where, you know, as far as having that long-lasting relationship, like, okay, um, yeah, how do we hold these places where that hurt? And can we transmute them, stick with it long enough in that discomfort to like get the gold or get the deeper soul lesson, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And obviously, I'm talking about these things in a really dramatic, kind of extreme fashion to make a
Sure, of
point, right?
course.
Because there's
Yeah.
definitely very many nuances about this. But it's true though, also. Like to your point, it's like we've lost some skillfulness of communication, I think, in different generations. Each generation communicates differently anyway, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
but also there is this lack of just the I'm in front of you, we are regulating each other in a nervous system manner, and we can just be present, which creates a deeper level of bonding than
Mm,
which is the long-term bond, right? It's the intellectual bond, the mental
mm,
bond, the bond that lasts beyond the physical that actually creates a deeper like vasopressin and oxytocin, which are like built up in men and women with each other when they resolve conflict together. It
mm.
gives the nervous system a sense of like, oh, We can survive together. I can trust you when things get hard. I'm safe with you when things get hard. So even if there's conflict, the safety returns. And that gives a deeper level of connection because now we know, oh, you're not just going to leave me the first time I have a meltdown
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, that trust. If you don't have trust, I mean, you just don't have a relationship, right? Like it's something to be cultivated. Um, so I'm curious, like when you work with people, um, how do you guide them? Is there a certain roadmap? Is it just dependent on the individual when they come to you and they want some help? I mean, I imagine there's a huge spectrum, right? In
There
terms of
is.
personalities and
Yeah.
issues and
Yeah.
yeah.
So the way I differ from most coaches is that I don't coach first. It's all emotional healing.
Mm,
It's all working with what do you believe? What do you believe a relationship is? Do you believe you can have it? Do you believe you deserve it? Are you worthy? Are
mm,
you performing for love? Right? Do you believe you have to be someone different? Do you have to be 6 foot, with six-figure income and have a 6 inches? Like there's all that going around too. Like the majority of people aren't, the majority of men aren't that, right? And when like
right.
women are saying like, oh, I have to be this and this and this and this, where are you performing to feel loved? So a lot of it's like that I do with work first is like helping them identify who are they, what do they want, and what are the unconscious things that are standing in their way.
Mm,
Now that we've cleared the goop, like clearing the hurt, clearing the trauma, like past relationships of sometimes sexual, emotional trauma,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
now we can get to like, who are you at the core? Because once we know that, now you can connect more clearly. And now the coaching becomes more about like, okay, so now that we got that out of the way, who are you? Okay, let's do this. How do we reinforce that new neural pathway? So instead of being fearful of rejection, now you see rejection as like, hey, thanks for letting me go so I can find someone that values me more.
Mm,
And so it's sometimes it's just changing our like noticing when we're in an emotional or mental negative spiral and saying like, oh wait, what's actual truth here? And being able to shift that. So that's where I really shift from most traditional um just coaches. It's not just like,
mhm.
well, how do you text them back? It's like, is that the person, how does the person you're texting with want to be talked to? Are you being that person that the person that you desire wants to be with? And if not, what do you need to shift in yourself to be that, to have that?
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah, you got to fall in love with yourself first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting as I was sitting here, I was thinking the word sovereignty popped into my mind. And I was just thinking about how maybe we get sovereignty confused with independence. And it's like you can be sovereign in who you are, right? Like
Mhm.
sovereign meaning I have free will and choice. I get to decide freely how I want to live my life. And I also am, I need relationship. I need connection. I need belonging, right?
Yeah.
There's that duality. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can be in your power then. Whereas I think some people fear when they lose their independence, they lose their power, and that's not true.
Hmm.
You don't have to give up your power to be in relationship. Relationship amplifies your power and your connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. So interesting. It's interesting to sit here and talk with you because I'm like going back in my mind, like remembering the days when I was single, and I wonder, do you, just out of curiosity, when you work with people who are divorced, let's say, or coming out of long-term relationships, what do you see as like their biggest struggle? Is it believing that love is possible again, or like what shows up?
Depends upon the type of divorce,
Mm,
right? Like, was it a cheating, betrayal kind of thing?
mm,
Was there some kind of narcissistic or other kind of abuse, some toxicity?
yeah.
What happened during the divorce?
Mm.
Like, so was it like, oh, it was kind of amicable, and now we started fighting over money, so some of those dynamics play into it as well. But I think a lot of it is, yeah, the distrust, or often divorce happens also because we've grown into different people than we were when we first got married.
Yeah.
And then there's a sense of, is there anyone out there for me? Are the good ones taken? I'm afraid to get into the same relationship dynamics as I did before. How did I not figure this out earlier? Or why didn't I leave earlier? I stayed for the kids. And so I
Right.
suffered for a long time, right? So it really depends. There's not really one answer, but I would say overall, it's like, I would say not only identifying what they want in their next relationship, but trusting themselves
Mm.
to suss that out and trusting that they can have
Yeah.
that no matter how old they are, it's not too late.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like maybe there's a certain freedom maybe for some people that are at that stage in life, and that partnership can look like a lot of different things, right? Like, so maybe traditional partnerships of marriage, we're all sort of maybe conditioned like that's kind of the ultimate outcome of a relationship. That means you've succeeded if you've married, and you last forever or whatever. And if it doesn't last, then it's kind of like, oh, I imagine it's kind of like, well, maybe I can be in a relationship and we never live together, or I don't know, we don't combine our finances, or maybe we do, or like getting clear on that stuff, realizing there's sort of a freedom in being able to kind of like design, if you can design a relationship, right? Define it in
Right.
a way that really works and is satisfying. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I have friends that are married, they live on different floors of the same house and they love it. They both love it, and it works really well for them. Other people be like, how could I not sleep with my partner every night in the same bed, in the same room?
yeah.
Right. So it really does come down to preference, but also aligning with your partner before you before you get
Right.
too far
Make sure
along,
you're on
right?
the
Like,
same page.
yeah, make sure you're on the same page.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, and I think too, like what you said is, the internet stuff, it really is, and I know I have to share the story because it just is such an, we talked about it before we got on, but I had a friend who really thought she met the one, and she was an older woman,
Mhm.
and was like, oh, this is the one, you know, I love him, he loves me, I'm so excited. He lived in, I don't know, some European country. I want to say Hungary or something. So she flew all the way out there, and the minute she got off the plane and they met, it was like, no, this is a no. So,
Yeah.
it's like you were saying before, like there's all these different dimensions, right? There's the intellectual, there's the emotional or chemistry, I guess, right? Intellectual chemistry, emotional chemistry, physical chemistry.
Mhm.
And it would seem to me that the physical chemistry, you have to meet in person to know if
Right.
it's there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I would say in general. I mean, sometimes you
Not
can
always?
tell, but yeah,
Yeah,
not always.
not always so.
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah. I mean, I think some people are just more energetically maybe in tune,
Mm,
right? But maybe not. Maybe it is by the time they meet, it doesn't matter about physical anymore because the other hormones have taken over already.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, that deeper, maybe
yeah,
soul level connection and
right,
resonance is taking
right.
place. Yeah, definitely.
Or maybe there was an expectation, and I'm not saying this is true or not, but I think sometimes if we're only seeing parts of people, it's like the radio announcer voice, right? You get the picture in your head of the radio
Oh,
announcer,
sure,
and
right.
then you see them in person, you're like, that's not what I pictured,
Right.
right? So I wonder if there was some of that dynamic for her where she had a different image, energy, feeling, or she expected to feel more, and then like who knows, right?
I have no idea.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely like it's true though, like if you meet someone and you don't have physical chemistry, but you have all the rest of the chemistry, like what's actually most important? And is the physical chemistry something that can be trained? Like, is it about the way he kissed, or they kissed, or that they interacted, or is it about like actually the physical dynamics of him that she was like, no, like, I don't know. So
Yeah.
it's different, I think, for every person. No, you're getting me thinking, so I'm kind of thinking out loud as I'm
Yeah.
processing. So excuse
Yeah.
me, I'm kind of going all over the place, but But because like part of me is like, well, no, you don't have to. And then I'm like, well, I guess I could see how it could go either way, depending upon the individual or the dynamics of what you need, right?
Yeah, sure. And of course, there's just so many different ways. I mean, you could have maybe physical chemistry with somebody, but they're totally emotionally unavailable, or they're, not very nice.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
Which
all
is,
those things matter. It's
yeah.
definitely true.
Oh,
So,
who is that actor and that actress? They were married. I can't remember their names right now, but they, I mean, they were known for like throwing things at each other, getting these knockdown, drag out fights, and then having like this mind-blowing sex. And they're like, that's just what our marriage is. But they both loved it, right? Like for me, I'd be like, no way, I don't want that kind of relationship.
yeah.
So, who's to judge what works for
Yeah,
each
right.
person as
Yeah,
long as it works for both of you? That's the
right.
thing, right?
That
It
is
has
the
to work for
thing.
both of you.
That is the thing. Amazing. So, Don, so how do you work with people? I mean, obviously they can find you at unifiedmind.info.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of packages or programs do you have going?
I do a lot of things. I think kind of the biggest thing right now, so I always do one-on-one work. I usually tell people just jump on a call with me. We can figure out
Mm-hmm.
what works best for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest thing right now is I'm going to do the Learning to Find Love course, which is how do you identify the traits that you want in your soulmate or in your lifelong partner? That starts in January, and that's only $333. So people can reach out, they can sign up for the class, doing one in person and one online. So um, it'll be fun. Because I
Awesome.
think that's a nice place for people to start if they're like, well, I don't really feel like I need a lot of other things, but I'm curious now what would come up if I really evaluated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. Dawn, this has been really lovely. Thank you so much for being here and spending time with
Thank
us. And to the audience, please like and subscribe, share this video with your single friends. And yeah, much love to everyone. Thank you for being here, Dawn.
thank you.
All
Take
right.
care.
And how do I stop it? Here we go.